Hello, I'm Dr. Duke, and this is I'm Right. Today we're talking about Washington Middle School in Green Bay, Wisconsin. If you've been paying attention to the news, you know that middle school teacher Kirsten Westcott recently resigned her position, a job she said she loved, because the middle school kids, we're talking kids 8th grade and younger, at this middle school have been engaging in all sorts of violent, abusive, sexually abusive behavior. They've been beating on each other. They've been sexually harassing each other and the teachers. And there have been dozens and dozens of calls to the local police department in Green Bay to send cruisers over to try to deal with these unruly students.
I fear for my safety every day. I am equally afraid for the safety of my colleagues and, most importantly, my students. We are in danger every day when we show up to our school. Students and staff are physically, verbally, emotionally, mentally, and sexually abused every single day in the building. Just a couple weeks ago, a teacher was taken away in an ambulance with a bleeding head wound caused by a fight among 3 students. Another teacher was physically attacked by students trying to set off a deadly allergic reaction on purpose, causing her throat to close and her to struggle to breathe. A student was held down on a table and his legs put into vice grips so that other students could take his shoes. A student had his pants and underwear pulled down, exposing him in a crowded hallway of students. Another student approached a group of teachers and pulled his pants down and touched himself inappropriately while laughing at their requests to stop. Male and female students this year are slapped on the buttocks, pitched in the chest, kicked in the groin. All of those things I just mentioned happened in the month of May.
Parents, staff, and teachers seem to be unable to stem the tide of this violence. And so this young teacher resigns in tears. And the initial response of Michelle Langenfeld, who is the superintendent of the school and the school district, was to minimize the complaints of this teacher. And now they're doing damage control. This is pretty staggering. It's also not surprising. This is going on in schools, middle schools, even some elementary schools, definitely high schools all across the country, where, among other things, President Obama's disparate impact legislation, the push to punish minority students much less than other students because there's a stigma, right? The argument being made that American schools wantonly punish minority kids, particularly African American kids, much more than they punish white kids. And so consequently, to fix that so-called imbalance, we have to be much more hands-off with those particular kids than other kids. So what you've got on campus now is a complete aspect of chaos in the American public schools. At the same time we're doing this, and superintendents like Mrs. Lagenfeld are downplaying the violence and the abuse. You've also got what's going on in Collier County, Florida, where Mason Classical Academy, a high-performing charter school that uses classical schooling methods and has completely outdone all of the public schools in terms of grades and proficiency, test taking. That school now is under pressure from the state and from agitating liberal groups to shut it down because it privileges middle-class white kids. And they do have, lo and behold, actual discipline in their charter school. And so you see what's happening on our schools at the public school level from kindergarten all the way through high school. Kids are out of control. It's considered politically incorrect to discipline those kids. Those kids are now abusing teachers and staff members. The educational administration, who's not terribly interested in educating these kids, because you can't educate kids who can't sit still in their seats and behave. Meanwhile, circle the wagons around what they're doing. And high-achieving schools that have opted for a non-common core route, particularly the charter and voucher schools that Betsy DeVos is so fond of, are now in the process of being persecuted because of their excellence. Things are upside down, and we wonder, and when you think about this at the high school, elementary, and middle school level, is it any wonder that you have college kids at Evergreen College in Washington State actually holding a school president hostage and making sure he cannot go to the bathroom, go take a pee, unescorted by Antifa protesters? Are you surprised now what happens at college? Time to change the entire paradigm, get rid of all of these Common Core initiatives, time to reinstate old-fashioned discipline and values and classical schooling again. It's not that complicated, but from kindergarten to college, no one seems interested in doing that. And that's why we're right today. If you enjoyed this video and all of our videos, please consider a tax-deductible donation so we can keep the whole thing free for you. I'm Dr. Duke. Thanks for watching.